Hey Kaya,
How's it, Waylon? How are you?
yeah, good in yourself, pal.
Good, good, good. Can you see me, hear me
I can
properly?
I can see you. It looks like another wonderful day in Durban. I presume you in Durban.
Yeah, no, I am. I am. It's actually quite pleasant.
Yeah, winters are tough in
Yeah.
Durban, eh?
Yeah, no, they're quite they're actually more pleasant in summer because summer gets a bit sticky and humid and
I
so on
try
and
not
so
to
on.
rub it in with all my Johannesburg family, but it's hard, eh? The hard when the days are just so perfect and you don't really feel winter. Tough places
Yeah,
to
no,
live, eh?
I've seen there it's very, very cold. So the people they are wishing that they have Durban winters.
Yeah, look, I get up and run at about 5 o'clock, and I tell you what, in Johannesburg, you wouldn't be able to achieve that feat. You'd have to wait
No,
hours for it to warm up.
to warm up before you go. Otherwise, you probably pull a muscle or do something while you're
Look,
running and it's still
and
cold.
at the best of times, my knees are not compliant. So yeah, I need
Need them
everything
to
to
be
be
warm up,
perfect.
yeah. Get the oil going in the knees, get
You know
everything.
what I
Yeah, no,
mean?
I get you.
Q20 on tap.
No, I get you, I get you, I get you.
So how's it been during lockdown? How have you kept yourself busy, man?
Well, I came back and I stayed with my family. I wasn't going to do it alone, that I was
Yes.
certain of. And just before lockdown, my son was with me.
Okay.
So he just stayed on.
Okay.
His mother had to work.
Yeah.
So we just felt it was a bit safer that he stays with me because she had a little bit more risk to be
Yes.
exposed. So he stayed here with me and my family, and yeah, we basically a biggish family, and it's been I mean it hasn't been a dull day, put it that way. There's always some sort of entertainment somewhere. So yeah, it's just been that, and then training as well. I've had to do home gym, and we've had Zoom fitness
Mm.
sessions, and then luckily they opened up some of the stores and stuff like that, and I was able to get myself some equipment. So
Yeah.
I got myself a watt bike, and I started cycling, and I thought I was doing the Comrades Marathon, and I actually I got my glutes started cramping up, and I
Yes.
just came back from the physio today because I had spasms. I did 24 kilometers,
Yeah.
and yeah, I did one of my glutes went into spasm. I thought I was a superhero, and I
Yes.
think my muscles got a fright. They were like, "Sure, you did 24 kilometers. Never
Yes.
done that before." And yeah, so at least I've learned my lesson. I need to keep it nice, quick and sharp, 4, 5, 10 kilometers max.
Especially on the watt bike, because I mean that is a torturous device. If anyone that hasn't used a watt bike in their time, it
Mm.
keeps you honest for sure. So if you're looking to get fit quite quickly, then the watt bike is probably a good place to start. But I'm sure 24 kilometers is probably a little bit too far.
Yeah, well, definitely for me,
Well, thanks for giving me a heads
I
up to never do that.
no, don't, don't, unless it's something you do all the time. I wouldn't
Yeah.
advise it for anyone. So, and yourself, what's been happening with you? How you been? How's everything?
No, everything's good. We've started school this week, so it's been quite interesting and exciting to get everyone back. Just a
Mm.
little glimpse of back to normal routine. So yeah, I can't complain. I'm sure it's the same for you, getting back into routine, just leaving the
Mm.
house and just getting some of your daily activities back to normal. I think is a blessing because I know 3 4 months under lock and key can be tough for
Yeah.
everyone. So I think the parents are relieved to get their kids back into school, or at least the grade 12s at least. And how have you
Mm.
been keeping
Mm.
yourself mentally sharp? I suppose it's been difficult because you're waiting for more information and when can you do what, and so I'm
Mm.
sure your
Mm.
your mental attributes have had to come to the fore.
Yeah, well, in terms of getting back into cricket and stuff, for us, it was more, we were closer to the end of the season when the whole lockdown happened. So we were off season, or we still are, but so I
Yes.
mean, I didn't really have to focus too much on it. So I was going to be off season for a few months. But then obviously like national preliminary squads were announced, and you must just keep fit and so on and so on.
Mm.
And then yeah, so now I mean, they've mentioned that we allowed non-contact sports are allowed to come back, and
Mm.
so slowly we're getting more information on what we're going to be doing. So I
Mm.
think I actually dusted out my cricket bag from the garage yesterday,
Okay.
and I expected a few cobwebs, but it wasn't. I packed it quite neatly when I put it in there, so it
Yes, yes,
wasn't too
yes.
bad. It wasn't too bad. So I think now we start skills training soon. So I think now more the mental side is going to come through, because I mean there's going to have to be a lot of shifts and changes from sitting and just being at home or in one place to now, like you said, daily routine, getting the competitive edge back,
Mm.
wanting to improve, just knowing that, look, maybe any competition could come at any time, because
Mm.
people are trying to be creative, and I think a lot of money has been lost.
Mm.
So you might find businesses and federations would want to, make up for a little bit of that loss, and you might find a
Mm.
lot more. Well, I'm expecting, put it this way, I'm expecting sports teams and sports federations to be doing some charity games of some sort to help out
Mm.
here and there. So one could find themselves doing quite a bit of stuff once everything is back to normal.
And I'm sure, obviously, if we look at New Zealand rugby, they're about to start, and obviously they've had no new COVID-19 cases, so they allowed people to come and watch their Super Rugby games on the weekend. So I'm
Mm.
pretty sure that once any sport resumes in South Africa, I'm sure the fans will flock. Obviously, if it's allowed, depending on what the
Mm.
protocols are. But I think just for the people watching at home, I think any sport, they would love to get
Will
that
be welcome,
entertainment
yeah.
back in their lives. So, like I think it's a lot of people have been creative, and they'll have to continue to be creative in terms of how they're going to make their competitions exciting. Because look, you have to condense quite a bit in a
Mm.
short space of time, with, like you said, all that time lost. So I'm
Mm.
sure I'm sure you guys are also rearing to go. Whatever they want you to do, you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. Look, let's just get back on the field. Let's do what we love.
Yes.
And I think any type of entertainment for people right now is quite important.
Mm.
More so, look, I understand the stage going into the stadiums might be a bit of a challenge. So I think
Mm.
people will welcome it back onto their TV screens as well, just as
Mm.
much. Because there might be an expectation that yes, people want to go to the stadium, but you also might get the other side where people might want to be um, very, how can I put it, conservative, and
Mm.
maybe just keep a bit of a distance for a little bit, and then once they get used to it, then they'll come straight back in. So
Yes.
there's so many things to consider. But one thing I'm certain of is that I think people do want some live sports back
Mm.
on their TVs, or whether they can go back to stadiums or not.
So if we go back into time, you obviously a Durban boy. What's kind of your story for the viewers coming in now that haven't seen or heard much of Khaya Zondo? What's sort of your story, if you can explain in a snapshot?
If I had to go back into time,
Yes, yes, yes.
sure.
Because before I bridge that gap, obviously a lot of people don't know that you were a very talented sportsman at school. So maybe how you arrived at cricket would be the end of the story, how you entered professional cricket. But maybe
Okay.
give them a glimpse into your psyche and your sporting career growing up.
Yeah. Well, I know a few of my South African A side teammates always laugh at me when I tell them I used to be a jack of all trades at school. They laugh
Yes.
at me and they go, never, because I think they see me run now, and I've lost all that pace and that nimbleness
Yeah.
that I used to have. I actually got voted as the worst soccer player in the Dolphins team, and guys won't believe that I actually played first team soccer when I was
Yes.
14 at Westall.
Yes.
But I think I used to do all sports in primary school. I cricket, rugby, soccer, hockey, athletics. One of my good mates, Dane Pete, he doesn't believe that I was a swimming captain at Rio West Senior Primary.
Mm.
He saw me jump into one of the pools on tour, and he was like, "No way, you could have never been the swimming captain." So, but I used to do it.
Yes.
I used to do everything just to keep active. I was one of those
Mm.
kids. I got to Westall Boys High School, and I actually didn't know where to go register for all the other sports.
Mm.
So I ended up just doing cricket, rugby, and soccer. So that's how the others just got minused out of the equation, basically. And
Mm.
I did those, and I played A teams for under 14. For cricket, actually, it was weird because I got dropped, and I played B team under 14 B.
Mm.
For cricket, I was in and out of that, and then for rugby and soccer, I was A side, and then
Mm.
soccer when I was about 14, 15. I was a year young for my grade.
Mm.
I got picked for the first team soccer team, and then I just played first team from then on
Mm.
for soccer. So funny enough, probably when I play soccer now, I can't even control a ball at warm up.
What
But
position did you play? No one can believe I
I
played
was
striker at school, so all they think is that I'm a centre back, and I don't blame them because if I had to be put into a first team soccer team now, I wouldn't find the back of the
yeah.
net.
Oh
Uh,
goodness, I was also a striker, and I
okay,
was striker and right wing.
okay.
Um, and look, I had a bit of pace back then. Now, cricket made me just stand in one position and move
Yes.
left and right.
Yeah.
So I think the pace was kind of gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to play striker with I'm sure you'll remember Khaya Zondo.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
thought he
The
was a
legend himself.
phenomenal soccer player. Yeah, he was
Unreal.
amazing. He was really. I still think I'm yet to see a more talented soccer player at
Absolutely.
school. At
A great
school, and
rugby player as well.
oof,
Yeah.
honestly, I really thought he would have gone into one of those disciplines
Yes.
professionally and pushed on.
Yes.
But I mean, I think he was really talented.
Mm.
So then, yeah, I played first team soccer. Then I played the age group for cricket and the 15A, on the 14A, 15A for respective rugby and cricket. And then for rugby under 16, I was playing A side, and I got selected for the Grand Como week
Mm.
to represent KZN, and we won that one.
Mm.
Excuse me. We were in Paarl. Is it a small city
Yes,
or
yes, yes.
town called Wellington, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
Something of
I'm
yeah. I
not
think
sure
we
if it's
played
famous
there.
for the brandy, but yeah, sounds about right. Where brandy is
Yeah,
born, but carry on.
I think that was the area that we were in.
Okay.
Um, and we played there. We won that. We won that Grand Como. We actually played against the Lions in the final. And I remember that my opposite number 10 was Elton Jantis.
Okay.
I always tell Dan Peters, and he never believes it. They're like,
Th-
"What? No
This
way."
is how you
I'm like,
put
I think
people
that.
in place. You have to tell them, listen, guys, I played against Springboks. You must understand. Take
That
me
back in the day, I
seriously.
wasn't too bad. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, played that. Then that same year, I actually played first team rugby. I played 3 games. I was 16, and I got moved. I got
Yeah.
really hit hard against. I played 3 games that year. I scored. I remember Kurt Mavrodaris was captain, if I'm not mistaken, and he was
Okay.
number 13, and
Yes.
I was playing fullback. And we
Okay.
played at DHS. It was a tournament that they used to have there back then. I don't know if they still have it.
Yeah.
We played Dale College my first game. I remember everything was happening so quickly. Everyone was just stronger, quicker. So I was a bit of a deer in headlights my first game. Then the next game, we played against a New Zealand team. And I
Yeah.
remember they did the haka and they did all
Okay.
that stuff. And I just remember Khaya next to me, and he was
Yeah.
having none of that haka nonsense. He was just like, no, I'm up
Always
for
the
this.
rebel.
Always, yeah, always, and having his chirps and, you know. Anyway,
Yeah.
we won that game as well, and I scored my first try there. I remember Kurt broke the line.
Yeah.
And he gave me the ball. He gave me the ball when I think I was in and around the 40 meter, between the 40 meter and the 22 yards in their half, and I just sprinted. And I
Yeah.
remember like people were shouting, like people go a bit crazy, and
Yeah.
yeah, they can see a try's gonna happen. I'm thinking in my mind, I'm one of the smallest guys on the field. I can see
Yeah.
this guy from New Zealand coming from this like far away, but he's so quick.
And
And
you
I'm
can
like
feel
wondering
that
if he's not going
impending
to do.
doom coming.
I'm like, he's not catching me. That's one thing I'm not going to let him do, because if he does, he's going to
Yes.
annihilate me.
Yes.
So I just ran, and I eventually got there out of desperation, not to be smoked out the tournament.
Yeah.
And then my last game was against Michael House. I remember I broke the line, and I got to the fullback, but because I was still getting used to the intensity of that level, I wouldn't react as fast. And I
Mm.
got to the fullback. By the time I looked up, the guy was like tackling me. He
Yeah.
tackled me, and then I just remembered two other hard hits at the same time. And in that moment, I got hit so hard, I thought to myself, okay, you know what? This has like rocked my ancestors, the way I've been hit so hard here. Let me, let me just. In that moment, I told myself, what am I doing on a rugby field?
Yeah, you had your
I can play
divine
cricket.
intervention. Someone was trying to speak
Yeah,
to you.
they hit me into the spiritual realm, and I could
Yes.
see my ancestors, and I was like,
Yeah.
they were like, what are you doing here?
Yes.
And I was like, you know what? Oh, and I dropped the ball the same game, and we lost the game. I remember I
Okay.
cost that game.
Yes.
And then I took a decision, and I kind of could sense. So, sportsman, you can always sense when you haven't had a good performance and when your
Yes.
spot is on the line. And I told myself, if I get dropped from the first team, I'm gonna stop playing
Mm.
rugby. Um, I just believed that I could play cricket, and I
Mm.
didn't have to get hit so hard
Yes.
week in, week out. And I didn't believe I was going to grow and become as big as the rest of it, as everyone else. So there was always going to be challenges of some sort.
Mm.
Um, so I decided, and then funny enough, I actually did get dropped. And I remember the coach that year was Hugh Reese Edwards.
Mm.
And he really actually did believe in me. But
Mm.
I was like, nah, I think I can make a career out of cricket. So I stopped out of
Mm.
my own,
Yes.
when I just looked at things. And then I was meant to play and then the 16 game after that, and I decided, you know what, I'm actually not gonna go. I remember telling one of the coaches, my under 16 coaches at the time, I just said to him, look, I think I'm gonna go to cricket academy.
Mm.
I think I'm done. And I don't think he believed me. I don't think he
Okay.
believed me because he expected me to show up, and I just said,
Yes.
hey, yeah, I'm done. And that's how I stopped playing rugby. And then that was it. I played cricket and went to matric the following year when I was 17.
Did
And I just,
your the same sort of rugby representation, was it the same for cricket? Obviously, you had made Grand Como. Were you already on the radar for cricket at a younger age?
yeah, I think I had more cricket accolades. I think that's also what
Okay.
I looked at, because I played Natal under 15
Mm.
when I was 14 for cricket. Then I was the vice captain the following year for Natal under 15. And then under 17 vice captain for Natal. Then I
Mm.
under 19 captain for Natal. Then I went to South African school under 19. Um, and then by then I think I played my first professional cricket game when I was eight. Was I 17? Yeah, I was 17 when I played my first professional game. For
Mm.
my semi-pro debut was just after matric exams in December or November, something of that
Yes.
nature. I played my first semi-pro game for KZN. I played one game, and then in January of 2008, I remember getting a call, come train. So I just went and I trained. I had a horrific training.
Yes.
It was very bad.
Bad
after
first
December
impressions.
holidays. Yeah, it was so bad. I remember Yusuf Abdullah. I, it sounded like it was like a musical instrument when I was batting, because all you could hear was the steel stumps in the
Yes,
indoor center, like rattling all the time because they kept bowling me. I just hear boom, and I have to pick
yes.
it up,
I
put
know
the
that
stump
feeling
back,
all
and
too
face the
well,
next
so don't
ball.
worry.
It was so embarrassing. I actually was like, no way. Then
Yeah.
I just remember getting selected,
Mm,
and I went on. We went to Pretoria, and I actually didn't. I wasn't too clued up with what I was selected for, to be honest. I hadn't
mm,
learned the system enough, but I realized that it got serious when I looked at. I think it was Martin van Jaarsveld. He asked Morne Moko to warm up, and I looked at this guy. I said, he looks awfully familiar. And
mm.
I remembered, shucks, this guy, I've seen him on TV, playing, and I'm like, no, this is actually because 4-day cricket wasn't on TV, and that was um,
Okay, yes.
my first game. So, usually on TV they show the white, the 1-day cricket. So that's what I was familiar with in my head as a youngster. And then I
Yes.
realized, no, but this is the same guy. Hey, I was like, no, this is serious. And he bowled the fastest ball that I've ever seen. I didn't see the first 6 balls. I hit one by luck, and then the rest was history. I ended up getting 26. So I think cricket almost, I can say, sort of chose me, but in a way, I also sort of lined myself up with it, and things just happened in a way that they just happened for me. Because when I hear the story now, how I actually got to play, my one of my coaches, Ravash Gobin, we used to play with him back then,
Mm,
and then he retired and became a coach. He actually told me I replaced him. He said, Kaya, he just came up to me one day and said, Kaya, whenever something happens for you, it also happens for me. And I was
mm.
confused what he meant. And then he told me, and he's like, no, you actually got to play in my place when you were young because he failed the fitness test. So I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
know, and I didn't expect it,
Yes,
um, because I'd had such a shocking training.
yes.
And I was like, when I hear the story now, I'm like, oh, okay, I got in because of technicality. This guy failed his fitness test, and
I have
that's
to
how I got my
reevaluate
shot.
my whole career now. What are you doing? Don't share
I'm
the
like,
story with me.
yeah. I'm like, okay, that's how I got in. But I
Yeah.
mean, look, it was an opportunity, and I took it. I did quite well. It proved to the coaches that, look, the guy is capable.
Mm.
Um, and then I got my first professional contract, and the rest was history. So that's how I ended up
And
at.
and what did you have to learn quite quickly? Obviously, leaving school and playing professional cricket. What is something you had to
Mm.
learn quite quickly to do to adapt to, which you realized, listen, if I want to stay here, this is what I need to do.
Uh, well, one is when you become a professional, you you're competing with open age groups. As
Mm,
a schoolboy, you're very sheltered, very, very sheltered.
mm,
You usually the best within your age group,
mhm,
and you think you're the hottest thing
mm.
since sliced bread. But
Until you face
because
Mone Moko.
yes,
Yeah.
and because your competition is how can I put it, is almost kept. You're not
Mm,
competing with everyone. You're competing with people of your age, and usually when you're talented at school, you are
mm,
ahead of the other guys,
yeah.
mentally and skill wise. You're slightly ahead, so you always have the edge over them. But
Mm,
when you get into professional, I remember at one stage the coach told me, okay, Khaya, you're professional now, etc., etc. For you to make the team, you've got to displace Ahmed Amla. And
mm,
Ahmed Amla at the stage was about 28. He was on the brink of, he was playing for South Africa. The man knew what he was doing.
mm,
And he was like light years ahead of me in terms of knowledge. And the only thing I had as a youngster was potentially talent, but that was it. This guy had talent, which was probably above. And I remember he was my mentor, and he had said to me, one thing you must know coming out of school, everyone in a professional setup, whether cricket, rugby, soccer,
mm,
90% of those people have ticked the same boxes that you tick.
mm,
So it's like mandatory for you to play SA under 19.
Mm.
Mandatory for you to do those
Rites of
things to get.
passage.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. It's like, you come out of school and most guys think, oh, I played SA under 19 and it's meant to happen for me. But when you actually ask everyone in the changing room, maybe like one or two guys didn't go through that route. The rest of them went through that. So it's not like a big deal for them. So that was like an eye opener. So that was one of the things, is that I had to compete with people who have got a lot more knowledge. Performance it was no longer, if you're just playing for the first team at school, there's no pressure per se, because you're far more talented. You're never really going to get dropped. No one is on your case. The only people who are on your case are your parents, maybe like, listen, you need to perform. But there's nothing really on the line, because at school you're sort of having fun as well. And then you get here, now you've got to wake up. You can't go.
Showtime.
You can't have 2 bad games in a row. No,
yes.
You can't do that. You don't have that leeway type thing. So that was something that was, that kind of shook me, and it made me realize. I remember one of the biggest moments in my career when I was young. My coach, my B-side coach, said to me, Khaya, listen, you've got one more chance. If you don't score 100, you have to go and study, and that's it. And once you get dropped from B team, he said he's not going to pick me again, because he's given me enough chances. And if I can't do it here, then the chances are low that I can do it at a higher level. Yes. And, it was a clear statement that, listen, last chance and that's it. It's either you go down this road or you go down that road. Now at school, because you're the most talented person, usually the coaches, like, they ride on you and they're like, no.
The game plan is built around you.
Yes, it's built around you. Now you get to a place where everyone is just as talented, if not more talented than you are. So you're just like another player in the team, especially when you're younger, because there's guys who've been doing it, and the coach's job is on the line. So he's going to trust the people that will deliver for him consistently. He's not going to, just give a youngster a chance just because he feels like it.
Yes.
So then, he said that, and I realized there's pressure. I remember I ended up responding to it. I got 100, and I saved my career. I cried tears because I could feel the pressure literally on my shoulders.
Yes, falling off. Shedding a new skin.
Sure. I was like, thank God, But, it was a lesson that I need to be performing day in, day out, game in, game out. I need to be improving as much as I can, every practice, every net session, every practice game, every match. I need to be improving so that, one, I'm going up in my career to be as good as I can be, and learn as much as I can, so that I can have a long career and I can be successful in it. And so I just don't have to be in that position again. It was really bad. It wasn't good, but
yes,
I got through it. So thank God.
And I suppose it's nice to look back on these important times in your life, and you realize the lesson that was there. Maybe at the time you didn't understand it, but it's always good to get honest feedback from your coaches rather than them beat around the bush.
Yeah, sugarcoat.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, so
you don't grow when people sugarcoat stuff, but and they're trying to spare your feelings. It doesn't work.
Because I mean, as sportsmen, you try and internalize things, and it's better when they give you that honesty, so you can internalize it, deal with it, understand what's required of you, to obviously alleviate that stress and perform. But when they don't, when they, like you said, when they sugarcoat things, it doesn't make you a better person.
I actually get upset. I get upset when they don't tell me, or I don't have the hard conversation. I need to sometimes walk out of a meeting with the coach with, I might not like what he has to say, but if it's got merit and it's honest, I want to walk out a little bit pissed off. I want to be like, I'm upset because you touched my ego a bit, but he needs to touch my ego to get the information through to me. But if he's always thinking, but if Khaya is going to respond in a certain way, But if he's got good information for me to grow, then, just needs to tell me. How I receive it is up to me, and how I respond is up to me.
Absolutely.
That, you know what, I need to get better. And look, one thing I've always said is that everyone in the world, and any sportsman, there's always another level. There's always another level for you to get to. And I think the only thing that stops people from growing is that they're just not open to it, or maybe they're comfortable, or they don't want to push themselves any harder. So, but yeah, for me, it's definitely one of the things that I prefer. I prefer to have the tough conversations.
And I'll give you maybe 2 more questions, and then we can end the conversation. You've obviously been a captain. You've been a leader within the Dolphins franchise. In terms of your leadership style, how would you describe how you want to be as a leader? It's always a hard question because everyone's got their own.
Hi,
obviously,
can you repeat that?
Yeah, I said it's obviously it's a difficult one because everyone's got their own leadership style, but to gauge how, as a captain, you can get your players to buy into what you're trying to achieve in terms of your culture and so forth. So maybe you could say stuff that's worked for you, or how you've based your leadership style.
I think for me, I'm one of those. Okay, I'm very creative. In my captaincy style on the field, I like to. I believe as a captain, you can win the game just through your captaincy in cricket, especially, because I believe you're the guy who's you like the puppet master per se. Maybe it's a bad example, but you're the guy that's controlling the chess pieces. That's probably it. You're a chess player. You need to know when to do this, do that, and also you have an influence on what they do, and you can motivate them as well. So I like to think of it that way, that if I make a good move as a captain, that move will lead, if it's a good move, it will lead to success for the particular player, and it will impact on the game, and it will impact on, obviously, the team doing well. So I see captaincy in that way. And then off the field as well, I don't like to get too involved with what players do personally. The one thing that I believe is that everyone has different ways and cultures. We come from different lifestyles, especially in South Africa. I mean, we've got like 11 languages in South Africa. So there's different cultures and different ways to do things. And I've learned that over the years, and I personally allow people to do what they want, in the sense that if it gets you in a good place to perform, as long as it's within the boundaries and it's professional, it mustn't be impacting on other people's rights or other people's spaces. And if it's done respectfully, it's fine. And also just being a good human being and caring for the player, because I believe you can get a lot more out of the player if you have a personal relationship with them, rather than, a more authoritative type thing. I'm just the captain and
correct.
Yeah, I didn't like to be that way. One thing I wasn't afraid to take the tough decisions. So they might have pissed people off. They might have maybe rubbed people up the wrong way, but ultimately the responsibility lies with me. So, at the end of the day, when you walk into an office or your name gets discussed, you're on the chopping block.
You're on the chopping block, yeah.
Yeah, you make those decisions. So that's me. I know. I mean, you'd have to ask the people who played under me what type of a captain I was. I didn't like to get into people's faces in terms of like revving them up and come on, let's keep going. I didn't believe. I
always feel motivation so fleeting. What the real success is how you grind every day. So the fact that you mentioned earlier on about being detail orientated and making sure you tick the boxes, that's what helps you perform when it's crunch time.
100%. The euphoria and the excitement will add to your performance. It'll either add to your good because you prepared well and you're on the money, or it'll add to you not performing because ultimately the skill for me, that's where the battle is. Every game that you either win or you lose, or every performance that you either do well or do badly, the other player has outskilled you one way or another, either mentally or actual technical or tactical skill. So if you've got that covered, you don't need to talk. You don't need to go and, I always find bowlers, they'll be like in your face, chirping you about your mother and your uncle and so on and so on. But it's like a dog with no bark if his skill is not on point because you've got him covered. You just know that, you know what, this guy's actually wasting his time. You're just never going to tell him because you want him to feel like, oh, he's superior, but you know that he's actually not doing anything to me. So I've always felt that way. So I think some people you might find they want the khif. Come on, let's go. Like, I know in rugby it helps because you go and you bash people over.
Yeah.
In cricket, not that way.
Yes.
I actually found that the Dolphins team, when I captained, when I did that, I did it once or twice. When I did that like, pumping them up and getting them all excited, we actually, the skill was not on point because the focus, everyone loved the energy and everything, but the skill wasn't on point. So they wouldn't execute their skill. And when everything was relaxed and there's no pumped up clear type vibe, the energy would focus on what do I need to do skill wise, and the guys would perform better. So I had that. Some people might have thought, yeah, but we need more here or whatever. But I personally felt when it was a quiet focus, I got better results out of the guys.
Thanks, Khaya. I think that's probably the best way to end our conversation. But I just want to thank you. I'm glad you chose cricket over rugby or football. I'm glad your ancestors pushed you in a different direction.
The right way.
But obviously, I know obviously your preparation, it's going to get a bit crazy as sport continues to resume. So I just want to wish you the best of luck. Keep inspiring, keep leading. And until we chat again, thank you so much for this opportunity to share your wealth of knowledge, bud.
Thank you for obviously having me on. I appreciate it. I'm sure I'll probably see you. I'll see you soon. And,
yes, let's grab a coffee. Absolutely, bud. Take care. Have a good one.
Thanks, Waylon.
Cheers, buddy. Bye.
Bye.